Welcome to Unofficial Canon, a Star Wars podcast. This is our first Patreon special episode. My name is Taven,
Hi, I'm Brendan.
and this is kind of a new thing for us and for you. So I suppose we should talk about it before we jump into it.
Now let's just jump in. I'm kidding, of course.
What is this, and why are you seeing it? Well, so with us moving to a kind of every 2 week release schedule for the podcast, we felt a little bad for our patrons on Patreon, who through their generous donations, maybe donations is the wrong word, but they're funding the podcast, and now they're only getting episodes every other week. Even though they do tend to get them a bit early, it still really works out for them to every other week. So the thought was, what if we just produced these short, 5 or 10 minute episodes that only patrons get? This first one will probably make public so everyone can get kind of an idea of what it is.
Get the hook in so you'll want to become a
That's
patron.
the idea. But at the very least, then, if you are one of the people who has decided they like the podcast enough to throw us a couple of bucks to help with the hosting costs and editing costs and all that, you're going to get something a little special. The other interesting thing about this whole thing is that we have gone beyond just audio. Don't worry, Brendan, there aren't cameras hidden in your kitchen. We've just got a nice video kind of graphic thing going on while we talk so that people can get visually context about what we are talking about.
Well, I think that's just exciting.
I am excited about it, and I mean I'm a video editor. I'm not an audio guy, so this is more my wheelhouse. So with that said, these are not going to be deep dives. They're not really going to be a specific look at canon, at least for now. Primarily, what we're going to be using these short episodes are for is looking at the current news in the Star Wars world and maybe some looking at the community and things like that. We might branch beyond that. If there's a slow news week, I don't think there's going to be Star Wars news stories every week, or every 2 weeks. So we'll cross that road when it comes. But for now, it's just we're still talking about Star Wars, just not the same kind of content in kind of a micro burst.
A little quick pick me up to get you through the off weeks of the podcast.
So with that said, why don't we just start jumping into our news stories? The first one, the first couple, I've there's a very video game theme going on here. And the nice thing about this being our first episode is we're not just looking at the last 2 weeks. We can kind of look further beyond that. So the first news story is the this happened mid-February, where during one of the Nintendo Direct announcements that they do, they dropped a very, very teaser trailer for a game called Star Wars Hunters. This was kind of part of that first wave of games they announced post EA agreement. So this is
Right, when it's opened up to more developers.
yeah, which honestly they should have done in the first place, because Star Wars as a genre onto itself can fit into so many other video game genres. I specifically wanted to talk about this one because it's really vague what it actually is.
Yeah, it's got like hot pink 1980s hunter lettering from what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all I know about it.
It's being produced by Zynga and Lucasfilm. Now Zynga, most people are most familiar with probably Words for Friends. They're primarily a mobile game producer, so they do like a lot of branded mobile games like the Harry Potter game and things like that.
Right.
I'm not sure this is going to be one of those kind of just collect-a-thon, click on things on your phone, specifically because they include it in the Nintendo Direct, and they are releasing it for Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android. I have a quote here from the official press release here. This was their official word on it. We're thrilled to introduce this wildly creative cast of characters to our fans on Nintendo Switch, where they can join with their friends in thrilling battles at home or on the go. So to
That's it?
that's it. Well, like there were two paragraphs. That was the one with the most information. Beyond that, there's nothing. There's a trailer, which I am sure our audience is seeing clips of right now, but it is very sparse. There isn't even much to like. I'm imagining those specific YouTube breakdown videos where they're like trying to mine it. There's not much to mine here, really. You see a hologram of a Wookiee at some point. But anyway, I'm thinking that this is maybe like a Fortnite competitor, like some kind of
Oh, okay.
yeah arena style, um, you know, beat 'em up uh, team game kind of thing, right? The
Right.
thing that really makes me think that is that the platforms it's coming out of on, right? Because like I think Fortnite is biggest on mobile. It's on everything,
That blows my mind.
but well, everything is bigger on if there's a mobile version of it, it's way bigger than anything else. But
Yeah.
so that's what I'm thinking it is, which is interesting for a couple of reasons. I mean, first of all, we've seen Star Wars go in that kind of realm before, right? They've had crossovers with Fortnite where like the Mandalorian is available or Darth Vader.
Well, and that's where the announcement that Sheev made about him coming back to the galaxy, that's where it played.
Yeah,
That they referenced in episode 9. So they got a good relationship with Fortnite. Maybe they're like, we could make our own.
I think that is it. Especially with all the drama that's going on with Epic at the moment, they may just might be the time to do their own thing. But
Look, Star Wars has enough drama. They don't need to be adjacent to additional drama.
very true, very true. So yeah, that's really all the information we have about it. It's going to be released at some point in 2021. So I would imagine Q4. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it'll probably be
Get that Christmas
yeah,
money.
it'll be the thing that all the 8-year-olds play for a couple of months until the new version of Fortnite comes out. But the only other thing that's interesting to talk about with this particular story is that it seems to be a very clear shift in how Lucasfilm is treating games. Like beyond, just being partnered with EA, as a lot of people will probably remember, when Battlefront 1 first came out, there was a lot of issues because, people wanted to play like Maul as a villain and hero character of like Luke or something. And they had all that crap locked down, and the reasoning was, well, it can't be canon, right? Because Lucasfilm had this idea that everything was going to be canon forever, but a large multiplayer game that just doesn't make any sense at all.
Look, outside of a single player adventure RPG game, I don't see how you could make any video game canon. You're not going to do it with a strategy game. You're not going to do it with a strict shooter, like a multiplayer shooter. Like none of that's going to be canon, you
Yeah,
know? Like I think Fallen Order, I think the story in that's a prime example of how you do a video game story that's canon. Having never played the game, that's golden for video game canon. But like, here's your battlefronts. You got your Yodas and your clones fighting up a bunch of Mauls and robots. Like none of that's gonna be canon anyway. Just let the kids have
well,
fun.
I mean, the very concept of, I mean, you can go, okay, Fallen Order's canon, right? You can go cutscenes are canon, right? But the very concept of a video game is like I get to enact my own will, right? So
Yep.
like if I'm a
Yep.
Jedi, I can go around and I can slash people, but is that canon what the character did? Probably not. So
Well, exactly. Is it canon that like you got stuck on a planet for literally half a day trying to figure out a jumping puzzle? I hope not, because you're a Jedi.
yeah, you'd hope that they would be better at jumping, but so yeah, that I mean that's why I brought the story up. It's not. I mean, there's not a lot of information there, but I think it is evidence of things moving in kind of a proper direction, and generally, you know, it looks like they're definitely going to open up the Star Wars universe when it comes to video games, and we're going to be able to get some really cool stuff. Like our next story,
Ba-ba-da-da.
which I was also pulled into because